some of those people and scenes look familiar? Well, if they did, it's because you've seen them before. They were highlights of television programs you and millions of others first watched on your own television sets. Some were created in studios like this, some where the events were actually taking place. I'm Harold Fellows, president of the National Association of Broadcasters. During this next half hour, you'll see further outstanding television excerpts because this is a story about television itself. To tell you this story, the way television illuminates both the screens and the lives of Americans every day, I want you to meet a city and its people. It's a city that could be yours with people such as you, who all over the United States own and enjoy nearly 50 million television sets. The city is Binghamton, New York, population 85,000, located where the Susquehanna and the Shenango rivers meet to form what the people of the city call the Valley of Opportunity. Now let's bring the story of television and Binghamton into focus. Binghamton and its television stations serve a widespread shopping population of nearly 500,000. It's a major crossroads for many families who live and work on the fertile, sprawling farms and dairyland beyond the city, and for skilled industrial workers turning out products for the entire world. We interviewed many citizens of Binghamton to get their views about television. You'll meet them and hear their own words about the contributions television makes to their lives, as television brings the sight and sound of the whole world into their homes. At the Link Aviation Plant, these complex units go into an amazing training device, the flight simulator. In simulators, pilots can learn how to fly the very latest jets while still on the ground. Flight simulators can take a crew on a 3,000-mile trip in all weather conditions and never leave the ground. One of the skilled technicians is Bucky Harris.
At Link Aviation, my job is an assembler. Television tends to aid me in my job. I have a better knowledge of the trainer in which I work on. Television tends to broaden my scope in the progress of research and development in our latest aircraft.
Television completes the story for Bucky Harris, from the factory into the clouds, with pilots who once trained in simulators he built. Television does the same for people in industry all over America. On television, they see the finished product in action, as in this program, narrated by Walter Cronkite.
Precision flying is the end result of skills developed during training. When their training is complete, Lieutenant Smith and his fellow students will have developed the combat effectiveness which makes air power the most effective deterrent to war that we possess. The men flying these planes are fighter pilots, mock busters.
Television is also important to thousands who live beyond the city limits on the rich surrounding farmland. One of Binghamton's fine farmers is Steve Jariga.
My farm is a dairy farm. It's a farm of 344 acres. We have 60 cows and run about 20 head of young stock and have 6 saddle horses, 3 tractors, and we have 3 boys there working. We do all kinds of dairy farming and some vegetable farming. Television helps us on our farm. My wife enjoys television very much. It's a wonderful thing for the ladies to have this television. It makes them better natured when we all come in grouchy and a little discouraged sometimes. And they're always there to cheer us up and turn on the television, says listen to this and you'll feel a lot better. This is a way we can get around the world without leaving our easy chairs.
Farm families all over America got these same benefits from television. In fact, television shows all of us the changing ways of old countries in a modern world, as in this program about India, described by former Ambassador Chester Bowes.
Young India must draw from old India. And even today, you'll still find occasionally the pomp and ceremonial glitter of traditions centuries old, stripped of their political importance now, but remaining to enrich the present with the glories of the past. So much in India's past is exquisite. For instance, the ragas of its music, the great lyric sweep of its ancient poetry, the structure of its classical old dances, stylized, subtle, lovely.
This is the home of Shirley Walford, housewife and mother of 3 children. Shirley is active in community affairs, but her main activity is here with her family. At this time of day, Mr. Walford is at work. Their teenage daughter and 2 sons are waiting inside.
As in all families, every member of our family has different interests, and certainly television gives us a chance to share these interests together. After a busy day, we welcome television as something that we all enjoy. It gives us relaxation, entertainment, and information at the same time. We're all sports fans. We love football, baseball, swimming. Some of us can participate and some of us just watch. But television brings the major sports events, the events we can't go to, right into our home. And while we watch together, we are never all for the same team, especially at World Series time. It's even fun to see the reactions of different members of our family to a specific program. For our family, seeing the news on television has made the world smaller. When we see things happen on television, it brings us closer to the people and the events.
At Central High School in Binghamton, teachers agree with Mrs. Walford that television makes their students much more aware of what's going on in the world. When school is out, the students seem to be aware of other things, too. As Carol's mother said, each member of the family has his or her own separate interests. This is one of Carol's interests. His name is Barry Schumann. Barry is captain of the football team and president of the student body. Now, Barry has an interest in things scientific, which he can try to explain to Carol. But this is one interest that Carol just doesn't seem to share completely. As for the instrument itself, Barry uses it to test the heating effect of electricity in the high school laboratory. Barry's interest in science, shared by hundreds of thousands of students all over America, is intensified and clarified by television. Television programs dramatize both the current problems of science and its challenges for the future. Television explains the importance of research and shows the breakthroughs being made in all fields of science. In this television program dealing with basic medical research, Eric Sevareid speaks to a doctor about brain surgery.
This patient has had epilepsy for 7 years. In this brain operation, they hope to remove a scar which causes these seizures, and he has a 50-50 chance to be entirely normal afterward with no seizures.
How dangerous is the operation?
It's not dangerous. There's no risk to his life in this. The brain surgeon down there is Dr. Earl Walker. This is not an experiment. Dr. Walker must determine the location of certain brain functions in that particular patient. He does this in order to avoid injuring vital brain areas during the operation itself.
Now, if I stimulate again, a little lower down, along this same convolution.
That pencil-like instrument in his hand is an electrode. Each time he applies it to the patient's brain, a weak electric current stimulates that part of the brain. You'll see how it evokes a body movement or a sensation.
Ready? On.
Nil, 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 nil. There was no movement, sir.
Nothing at all. Buddy, did you feel anything?
Yes, I did.
What?
I felt that my hand was numb.
Well, your whole hand?
Yes, sir, my hand and fingers.
One hand finger. I see.
He's awake through all this?
He's awake through it all. He can tell the surgeon things that will be helpful to the surgeon in terms of this brain mapping.
That's why he's kept awake.
That's why he's kept awake.
Is it true that one does not feel pain in the brain itself?
No, it doesn't hurt to stimulate the brain.
Ready? On.
Nil, nil, nil.
Now, if I stimulate again, further forward. Ready? On.
Nil, nil. Left hand is shaking. Left wrist is twitching. Left wrist is twitching. Left wrist is twitching. Stop.
Stop.
Binghamton's municipal building is the center of its government and political life. Mayor John Burns and his assistant, Ted Moyer, believe that people are better informed on every subject because of television. Mayor Burns says television is an extremely effective way to inform the people of Binghamton about the problems of their community.
I have a special TV program monthly, and on this program, the public call in questions about city government, and these questions give me an idea of what they really want to know. Television helps us all to understand the problems of other cities and other areas. We see films showing problems of other cities all over the country.
On this television program, a nationwide audience discovered how a hospital in a major American city handles the treatment and rehabilitation of drug addicts.
You said in this new crowd that you met, you didn't feel sure of yourself. Well, why don't you feel sure of yourself?
What do you mean, why don't I feel sure of myself? You tell me why I don't feel sure of myself.
What's been happening?
I just can't seem to adjust.
Well, why can't you adjust?
Geez, I don't know. You tell me.
Oh, you do know.
Like, I always have to play a part in front of people. I'm sick and tired of playing a part. That's what makes me different.
Well, why are you playing?
People can't let me be myself. People can't accept me for being me.
I think one of the major contributions of television is this. It brings into the home of the average person the picture and the voice and the image of great national and international leaders. Right in our own living room, we can see and hear these people, and we can watch their reactions and hear their words. And I think we understand them better because we can see them, because we can see their expressions, we can hear the inflections of their words, and we can see their faces and personalities projected through the television screen into our living room. And that way we get to know better these leaders who make the decisions that affect the entire world.
These three men, Prime Minister Nehru in India, author Aldous Huxley in Italy, and Thomas Dewey in Maine, participate in an international television conversation with Edward R. Murrow in New York.
And the control of one's own destiny to the destiny of this planet. Is it possible that a policy of non-violence, such as Mr. Gandhi's, could be made to work in this thermonuclear age?
Well, the question you have put is an extraordinarily difficult one, but one thing seems to me quite clear, that one cannot put an end to violence by greater violence. One cannot put an end to an evil by something that is also an evil. I can't say if Gandhi's non-violence can be applied in fully, always. Certainly, I don't think it can be applied by any modern state fully. Nevertheless, I do think that basically that is the only way out of this present impasse and deadlocks where violence overleaps itself. It's very difficult logically to justify these things, but I'm merely stating a belief that has grown in me. And one can only approach it in life and not perhaps be able fully to act up to it. That would require saints, and saints normally are stoned by the crowd, although they may be revered afterwards.
Binghamton's main library is expanding to answer the demand for more reading material. Library Director Marcus Wright is already responsible for the circulation of more than 1 million books each year.
Our experience here in Binghamton correlates very closely with that of the rest of the country. The first year we had a television station on the air here, we noticed a definite decrease in the circulation of books from the public library. However, after the first year, we have noticed a very steady increase in the number of books taken home from the library. As soon as a book is mentioned on a television program, we have all kinds of requests for it. Many fine dramatic programs are based on books, and they bring a flood of inquiries for these titles and for books on similar subjects. Reading interest is increasing among children, too, for they request books and stories they see on television. We have also noted a definite revival of interest in the reading of fairy tales because of television.
This telecast of Sleeping Beauty, one of many fairy tales presented on television, entertained millions of people, young and old alike.
Before the child is woman grown, she shall reap what you have sown. The spell is wound, the deed is planned. A spindle point shall pierce her hand. All shall cease for her but breath, in a sleep as deep as death. Safe from passion, safe from strife, safe from all that makes life life. Naught shall touch her, none shall take her, till a true prince comes to wake her.
To the prince of the pruning shears.
Robertson Memorial Center is Binghamton's general museum. It has exhibits, classes, and children taught by Emily Forsyth.
When this room is full of children, it's a madhouse of activity, but it's an exciting, stimulating madhouse. The youngsters love it, and their work is all fresh from their imaginations, and television really starts the wheels rolling. They take their impressions and bring them right here from all kinds of good programs. I can see the results of television right here. Animals, ballet dancers, good lettering and designs. They talk about television all the time, and all kinds of programs start them thinking.
Mr. Apothecary? Mr. Apothecary! How's to mix us up a cloud? Rush order.
How's that?
A cloud.
A cloud? Won't take a minute. Yeah, the cloud. Let me see here. Cloud. Cloud, here it is. Pound of pure air. And, add water vapor till humid. Where did I put that water vapor? Oh, yeah, here it is.
What's water vapor? Just water in the form of gas. Now, most air has water in it, even though you can't see it.
No interruptions, please. Mind your manners. Add water vapor, just short of saturation point. And now the final ingredient, cloud dust.
There's no such thing as cloud dust.
Oh, yes, there is, Curly. You can't see cloud dust any more than you can see water vapor, but the air's full of it.
We live in a perpetual dust storm without knowing it. Salt crystals from the sea, ash from fires and volcanoes, exhaust products from automobiles and factories.
Cloud dust, just like I told you. One pinch, then cool.
And it's when air is cooled that dust makes clouds possible. The excess water vapor, millions of water molecules, keeps fastening on to the bits of dust until they become visible cloud droplets.
A cloud, just like I told you. Now here's a prescription if you want to make up a cloud to hum. Mix air, water vapor, and dust. Chill thoroughly, and there you be.
Television stimulates the children, not just to draw something they've seen, but to know a little more about themselves and the world around them. The purpose of art in American schools is to help children grow and mature. Television contributes in this way. Television sets them thinking.
At the Robertson Center, television does even more. Keith Martin, the museum director, has his own program. This is typical of the way in which television stations all over the country serve their communities.
Here we try to inform people of the secrets of the universe and all fields of human activity, the behavior, aspirations, and accomplishments of man. On our daily program, we inform people about what we have at the center, its exhibits, concerts, lectures, films, classes, and demonstrations. Television is a binding medium, which can lead to understanding and common progress all over the world as we look to the heavens for more and more knowledge so that mankind will not be lost among the stars.
You saw the atomic bomb on a television program, with both its threat of destruction and its promise of a bountiful future. The alternatives were presented by Chet Huntley.
Nuclear energy can look like this. or it can look like this. The force of fission, which can scatter a city in its thunder, can pick our bones and whiskers. In the heart of matter, in the world of inner space, there is no good nor evil. Only the particles which are energy, and the energy which is mass. We know that now, and that knowledge is in our hands to use, to unlock an ever-expanding world, to dangle the prospects of a long and healthy life, or no life at all.
Shape and challenge of the future, as it was seen and continues to be seen every day on television. The people of Binghamton and you in your city are continually served by this exciting medium. Television, as you have seen, contributes in many important ways to your lives and thoughts, just as it does to your neighbors in Binghamton, New York.